Yo, welcome to the podcast. It's the three balls in. PJ's dropping topics, let the combo begin. Dave O's on the stats, breaking down the play. Logan's never plays, but still analyzing the way. We're talking Jumbo legend. First stop the share leader, and we're not a cult. The wizard with the magic, ready to boot. Prime's the captain, without a spray. Cooties in the kitchen, cooking up the meat. Bringing flavor to the game, never tasting defeat. Yeah, Ron's is trash, but we love to remind him. Sin's the future, but he's still a scoop. Praise the MVP, always bringing that heat. Big E's the hugs, lifting spirits on repeat. So tune in, don't miss it. We're more than a game. In the world of Jubal, we're building our name. From the topics to the stats, we got it on lock. Three balls in, we're ready to rock.
This is TBI, Three Balls In, alongside Logan and Davo. This is PJ's. We are finally back for our finale of the season. Boys, it feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a real minute. It's been a real minute, but glad to be back.
I think I actually went to a Stain concert more recently than actually doing an episode of TBI.
Okay.
Stain the band?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, nice. Well done.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Bravo.
You just made me spear it.
Bravo. Well,
Yeah, he explains his joke.
no, but it's still a good joke.
All right, let's talk about it right away. Let's get into it. What a season it was. And of course, capping it all off, the Gorillas are the champions of the Jubal season. I guess the draft night surprise of Kuti not going with the pick we all thought he'd go with, but going with the pick his son told him to go with. He drafts in, Prey falls to the Gorillas, and it's all set from there. Rook made the right call, picked the right quarterback, and they are the champions. And Rook, of course, the championship MVP. Thoughts on the game quickly?
I love the fact that it was a competitive game and it really hinged on just a couple plays that really shifted it, meaning both teams had the opportunities to win the game basically up until the final drive, which you can't really ask for more.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the turning point, I think everyone would agree, the pick six.
Yeah,
I know they
that's
didn't
fine.
even give him the lead, but still, at that point, momentum shifts. There's doubts in other people's heads. I mean, I would have loved to see a Jordan final season. Mighty wins the MVP. Mighty wins a championship. Like, that's kind of a storybook ending. But guess what? Rook said no dice.
And also the way Fight played the first 80 minutes of the game, Fight was pretty on and pretty playing well. And that game was back and forth. That gave me 4 years ago vibes, 2020, 2021 season where Prey and Fight going at it. It's kind of how it felt in that championship game. But 1 inch, we go back to that movie, right? With Al Pacino, 1 inch makes a huge difference, and that's it.
1 inch is enough.
All right. Congrats to Rook. Congrats to the Gorillas. Congrats to the Jubal season. Another season in the books, and we have something to look forward to next year. But before we get to next year, a little hot topic, guys. A little debate, maybe. Do we feel, now that we can reflect on the season, do we feel the shift from, picking great people to be captains versus quarterbacks being captains was the right move for this past season in Jubal? Logan, I'll start with you.
This is a really interesting topic. Hold on 1 second. Which one am I?
You pick.
It doesn't matter? Okay, sorry. This is a really interesting topic. I think that there was a lot of excitement around the draft because the QBs were not the ones picking. Instead, they were the ones being selected. I think there was a lot more strategy in play during draft night as to when you're going to pick your captain. You saw some teams, aka Reapers, kind of say, we're going to focus on other areas of the team. We're going to let the quarterback fall to us. You saw teams like the Gorillas say, we're going to draft our quarterback early and kind of ride from there. I think while draft night was exciting, there was really no difference. Prey won. He won last year also. It's one of these pick Prey and you'll win type of equation. So for me, because you get the same result, you might as well make draft night more interesting. So I like the idea of having non-quarterback captains. But one small change I would make is I would make them all the same position. So this year, Kuti was not this year. Kuti's a lineman. Rook's obviously a wide receiver. Ernie's a wide receiver, so on and so forth. I think you either want to make all linemen as captains or all wide receivers as captains and kind of take it from there. But yeah, I like no captains, even though the result was the same. I like having captains who are not quarterbacks.
Davo, your thoughts?
So I'm gonna disagree with you on 2 points. First point being your latter point is I kind of like the fact that they're different positions because it gives each team different draft styles, which allows people to take necessarily best player available or for need. It also makes people think, right? So if I'm a wide receiver and there's already a lineman gone, am I jumping for a lineman or vice versa? Am I jumping for a receiver? I think it kind of gives a little edge to the draft, makes it a little bit more spicy. But that being said, while I do see the benefits of having, not to call them regular folk, but regular players being captains, I think it was the same at the end of the day. You had, if you go back at least the last 4 seasons, you have one top team that has basically a dominant record, 4-1, a 5-1, a 6-0, undefeated season. You have one team that's 1-4, a couple teams that are 1-4, 1-1, 1-4-1, whatever. And then everyone is basically stuck in the middle of that around 500, a 3-3, a 2-3, a 3-2, whatever, depending on how many games were played. The only difference this season was that the best team didn't win the championship. So Bop won the championship. Cronies won the championship.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide won a championship. This year, the Reapers were the best team, and the Gorillas won the championship. So at the end of the day, to try to say that the fairness or the competitiveness is different, it's not. It's the same. The only difference is that you're allowing the quarterback to pick the players that he thinks he works best with, which it gives him the best opportunity in his mind to win. So I think that's why you would stick with the quarterbacks. If the quarterback doesn't necessarily know players, he can pick the people that he's most comfortable with. We saw Srilly do it, even though he didn't really know the players, he knew of those players. That's why Roll Tide was good. Prey can just win with anyone because he's just the best. So in my opinion, I would stick with the quarterbacks. This also way we can blame someone. You don't want to blame Rook or you don't want to blame Prime. You like to really stick the blame on a
true
Yaron,
captain.
on a Dax, right? On a true captain.
I hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I hear both your points, and I'll say like this. I'm out on the fence. I'm actually going to agree with Davo here. I kind of like the idea that quarterbacks are the ones set the tone for the team. And because at the end of the day, like if you're a quarterback, you know who you want on the field with you. Someone's got to be able to tell somebody you can't play. And somebody's got to be telling somebody where you want them on. And usually most quarterbacks are not just the quarterbacks of the offense, but quarterbacks of the defense. You think about Swirly and Prey. And Swirly...
Even your run, he quarterbacks the defense a lot.
It's also true. I guess
I don't know why, but
like even Swirly, sometimes he won't even play defense. So like he'll be coaching the team and captaining the team even from the sidelines. I think it's really important. Gronk also, by the way, when he's been a captain, well, he usually has someone else helping captain, but the same idea. The idea right here is that you want ultimately consistency, and I think we saw some captains do really well in the draft and some captains struggle. We questioned some moves. Of course, we questioned the Reapers in the draft, but they turned out to, make us look stupid, and they turned out to be right. But I do like your idea in terms of the same position. I think that's kind of the same idea, right? Quarterback is the same position. If you want to go lineman, I think I'm okay with that, but I like to see that happen over the course of 2 or 3 years. Don't change up every year. Meaning
that's an interesting take. That's separate from this, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And this way you have more consistency going on in the draft. You have consistency in terms of what player you want. Also, I think the advantage going quarterbacks is the quarterback. Listen, there's no debate here. Price is the best quarterback in Jew ball, right? There's no debate there in terms of playoff play, in terms of regular season play, in terms of talent, in terms of everything that he brings to the field, right? And that's not because we all love Prey. We all do love Prey, but that's just a reality. You'd be blind not to think that. But the reality here is that you obviously wouldn't want to give Prey the #1 pick. And so you now supply a quarterback who maybe is not on the same tier as Prey, someone like your own who's aging, and you give him the opportunity drafting a guy like Zen, or drafting a guy like Open, or a guy like DK. Like, you give him the opportunity to build the team around his deficiencies as a player. You build his team better that's the advantage. But again, I'm okay with either call, like going, same players, same position or quarterback, but I just like consistency. All right. Another debate topic that came up is the scheduling of leagues. Are we happy with the way leagues are scheduled? The randomness of it, the way we shifted this year from, the not knowing some weeks whether leagues were going to happen, and then all of a sudden you had an 8 o'clock league game or a 9:30 league game. Do we like the randomness, the spontaneity of the leagues, or do we kind of like the way things were a couple of years ago, where it was scheduled from the beginning of the season, or like Dable, I think, had suggested a few years back, just do it all over the course of like 6 weeks in a row, get it out of the way, do it from December to January, and then play your playoffs in March. Thoughts on that? We're happy with scheduling? Are we good with scheduling? Would you change it up?
Well, I think it was terrible this year. Every week it's a back and forth battle. Are we playing? Are we not playing? This guy can't play. That guy can't play. I'm picking up this person. I'm picking up that person. I don't even need to play with my team. I can just make a random team. I think it was chaos all over the place. There was no fixed schedule. The teams were a wreck because, well, now I need to play because there's only 3 weeks left and I need to get 4 games in, and it doesn't even make sense mathematically. So I'm picking up Logan, I'm picking up Yaron, I'm picking up whoever. Like it was like, I don't think any team except for maybe the Reapers and the Gorillas actually played with their whole team for majority of their games. Everybody was picking up somebody. And I think it would just cause chaos. Yes, I understand that it's hard, but when you know beforehand that week 3, week 6, week 9 are all league games, it's in your calendar already. Now, if you can't make it, you can't make it, but it's there. It's happening. Otherwise, I have a Chumash play, I have a sitter play. I think it's too chaotic, and it's too much. That's not the Juba way. Juba way is just shut up and play. Just tell me when and where I'm gonna be there. Or this was too chaotic, and this captain, that captain. Oh Jesus!
All right, Logan.
Yeah, I kind of like not having set weeks. However, I think the whole idea of not having set weeks is you should be able to find a week where your team can play. So I guess that's another way of saying, if you're not going to have a set schedule, I think there's no excuse to have subs. Like, if you can't find your 7 guys, and again, you don't need you don't need anyone on the bench. Like, you just need your regular 7. If you can't find a week where you can field your 7, well, then don't play that week. Like, it doesn't have to be week 12 that we're playing a league game. Push it off to the next week. Find another, like, schedule it with the team you're supposed to be playing and play on a Wednesday. Who cares? Like, but get it done. Like, don't wait till the end. If you want to be like Kuti and like bang them all out in the first, couple of months, like, more power to you. That's great. But if you're not going to have a set schedule, the excuse to have a sub, I think, falls away. So, like, I think you either have to have a set schedule, in which case it opens the floor to subs, or don't have a set schedule, but then, like, no excuse, no subs.
And I feel like he doesn't get enough love, Kuti, right? For getting those games in, early on. You might even argue that you thought they'd be well rested for the playoffs, that it actually might have been, one of the layoff, right? The layoff actually hurt them versus helping them. But anyways, getting to the topic here. To me, I think it's something the captains got to figure out together. And I think that's the most important thing. The captains have to decide how they want the schedule to look. Let it be a decision made with the commissioner. And ultimately, what they think works best in the Jew Bowl season. I don't think league should take place the first 2 months of the year. I personally think the first 2 months of the year should be dedicated just to getting Jew Bowl started. Just to bring the community back in Jew Bowl. Then, I think over time, then you could start having leagues come in. And then as the weather gets warmer, you're all ready for playoffs. So the way I see it, it should be like weeks 8 through 18 should be when you have the opportunity to do your 6 league games. And
so I'll tell you the problem, dude.
Sure, yeah, please.
Right, is that now you're locked in that in these 10 weeks I have to get 6. So if I only play X amount of weeks, I have to squeeze it in. Right?
If you don't play like the first 3 weeks, all of a sudden you're scrambling like to get those games. And I think that I know what you're saying. I just think it's tough. Practically, I think it's tough.
And that's why, again, I think it's up to the captains and the commissioner to work it out. But that should be something that's decided upon. Again, that's the key thing. It's got to be decided on by the captains. Because ultimately, the captain is the one who's going to explain it to the team. And if he's got to pick somebody up, at least he knows, hey, listen, we tried our best to get our team out there. Things came up. This person had a baby. This person had a play. This person had a sitter play. This person, you won't answer the phone, so I need a last minute sub. That's what happens. All right. Let's talk about the last topic, which we wanted to get to, because there's a lot to unpack here. And that, I think, is one that I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on, but I'll let you guys start off. Do we have a problem with a guy playing 40 games, like a guy getting doubled up? Like, should doubling up, meaning like getting more games than anybody else, be allowed? At least whether it's that stat purposes.
Guys, focus up.
Shit.
Fuck, focus up.
Go for it. Keep PJ, rewind, but go.
Yeah.
Just go to our last thing. Like we're gonna jump to our last
No.
topic here.
All right,
I have a car.
All right, let's jump into our last topic. Do we have a problem with players who are doubling up week after week? Meaning a guy who can potentially play 40 games should get limited to 1 game a week, where the max you can play is 20 games, whether that's for stat purposes or whether that's just for getting other people the opportunity to play. Or are we okay? Like sometimes you do need a guy to double up. You need a guy to play multiple games on a Sunday. Thoughts, opinions? We'll start with you, Logan.
Yeah, I think that there are very, very few Jew ballers who can play at a consistent or high level for 2 games. I just don't think guys have that gas in the tank. Maybe there's a couple of exceptions to that. Maybe if it's a guy who's playing quarterback both games, but the reality is game 2 has been historically bad. And I think it's because we have too many guys who think they can play both and who can't. So to me, I think in both is a privilege. Again, let's say we're short, then yeah, you'd rather have a game of guys playing both versus not having a game. But I think it's you fill the first game, you fill the second game, and then you think about maybe someone could play a second first game. But like I think again, there's the list is guys maybe on one hand that you could count who can really play at a high level for 2 games.
Yeah, Davo.
It's a moral dilemma in my mind. I guess it's probably hanging out with Prager too much. It's to play or not to play, right? So obviously more football or more Jew ball football is always better. So even if the game becomes high scoring, it's a 7-7 game, 7-1, 7-5, 4-5, or probably a tie, who knows. Is it better to have played the football than to not have played the football at all? I think that's what it comes down to. I think, let's look at this year, Yaron played like 36 games, Prey played 35 or 37 games, something like that. But we needed them because we needed quarterbacks. I think that's also a thing. I think if we had more quarterbacks, the shift just becomes a little different. Well, maybe, if I know that we have Levenger playing in game 2, Levenger versus Zagelbaum or versus Dak, if I know that the
Are either of those 2 guys actual Jew ballers?
who knows? But if you know that you have 2 good quarterbacks playing in game 2, well, maybe I won't rush out of the house this morning. Maybe I'll play game 2, and game 2 itself will become better. If you know that if game 2 Yaron is showing up and he's well rested and he didn't really play game 1, maybe he's not throwing 7 interceptions and he's only throwing for 7 touchdowns. I think the quarterback play will bring players into game 2, will make it a little better. I think that really becomes more important than let's say a guy like Prime playing 2, or a guy like Yoni or Zim playing 2, or a Cookie playing. I think the level of talent will be better balanced if we had better quarterback balance.
Yeah, I think this is a non-issue for me, honestly. You listen, you want to fill 14 spots every week, twice a week. That's the reality. So
3 times a
week. we don't want it or 3 times a week. Like,
we have two 8 a.m. games. That's the problem.
Well, I think that's the problem, right?
That's not a problem. It's
It
more
is.
football.
So I think the idea here is you got the numbers, do it. I don't think anybody's like, oh man, I got to play 2 games now. People love to play. They want the opportunity to play. This is their 1 game a week, their 1 day a week where they can just go out there and chill on the field with their friends and hit somebody or catch a touchdown or whatever it is. And that's what Jew ball is. That's what Jew ball brings. So for me, there's no cap. You don't cap this stuff. Let it happen. That's my viewpoint. It is my distinct honor to welcome in one of our 3 last guests of the season. It is the MVP of the league championship game, none other than the captain of the league championship winning Gorillas. It is none other. Whoa. Come on into TBI again. What's up, brother?
You'll pipe in some applause.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, let's talk about it, Rook. Let's take at that moment. Let's talk about that moment here. That game, you're down 2-1. They're driving with a chance to take a 3-1 lead. Fight's throwing the ball to none other than Mighty, who's been a Jew ball, I don't know.
Almost MVP.
Yeah, 15 years in a row. The guy has just dominated Jew ball. And there you are. You read that pass. What's going through your mind? Do you even think it's going to be a pick six? Or do you see it all the way? Talk us through that play.
So there was so much that happened before that play. It wasn't just, oh, you whatever made a great read on that.
Yeah.
It was, this is actually going back to the last regular season game that we played. We played the Reapers twice. And in that last game, they had a final drive. And they did the play where they had like Goldberg to come take me out and then Mighty underneath. And that's actually how they got the 1 seed against us.
Oh, wow.
So I just, that play like kind of stuck with me. And then right before the pick six, they got a touchdown. They did that same play, touchdown to Mighty. I just missed it. You really got to go back and watch the game. It was a lot of that was going on. And then, so
you're saying you kind of knew
almost Seahawks Patriots.
Right, it was right. You almost knew the play.
It was the third time seeing the play. Although this time, I think they were trying to do it differently. I think they were trying to
get
a Goldberg.
They threw it to you instead of Mighty.
That's true, but he was actually looking for Goldberg that time. You could see it, and so I kind of anticipated the play. So again, you really have to go back and watch the game. I was telling DK, I said, get out wide, try to affect the throw. So this way maybe I could get a dump on it. And
I'm gonna ask my TBI co-host here. Is that the greatest play in championship Jew ball play since the inauguration of the leagues?
I mean, it was definitely the greatest play in that championship.
No, for sure. But I'm saying in all the games, Roll Tide championship win was kind of a blowout.
Cronies also blowout.
Cronies blowout. Like
blowout.
when we beat Yaron that first championship, Veg had a lot of great picks, but
there wasn't like one.
But not like like a standout play where you're just like.
That's true. Most championship games have been blowouts, and this one was like one of the first good ones. So that might be like the
this
signature.
Might be like the signature greatest play in Jew ball league history. Obviously, we're hoping for more great plays as Jew ball.
I'm a little biased, but I'd like to think so also.
Well, I'm glad you do.
It was.
Hi, Logan.
Yeah. So I know it's been a while, but walk us through draft night. If you had the first pick, who were you going to pick?
Meaning instead of Kuti.
So yeah, great question. I think I may have gone with. Well, that was the thing of going number 2. I really had.
Agreed. You didn't have to pick, but let's say the choice is yours.
Let me ask you a different question, if you don't mind. Did you think Zin was going to be number 2 there for you? Number 2.
I thought Zin was. I thought Prey was going 1 for sure. And then Kuti, the day of the draft there was so much that happened with the captains and with Prime also trying to change the draft order or trades, whatnot. There was a lot behind the scenes that was going on. So, but I'll say this: I made the championship 2 years with Zin. So, especially even before the Roll Tide, whatever, that was one thing. But Crocs, I know that me and Zin, we worked hard, made it to the championship game on the Crocs. So I did feel comfortable going with Zin, thinking that we would have made the championship.
Just to go back to Logan's question, if you had number 1, you might have gone Zin.
I might have gone Zin or
wow.
But
can you imagine
it would have been a completely different season.
Demo.
Rook, welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I got a couple questions for you. There's a big debate of 100 men can take on a gorilla, but how many Reapers would it take to take down the gorillas?
So
at least one more.
Yeah.
You have to keep in mind, when we're talking about gorillas, when you add the Z at the end, it just changes everything.
The Z was supposed to be %, right?
Oh,
no.
Damn, killed Logan.
Wow.
I just like that was kind of Jersey.
That was
interesting. But I'll say it would take the 7 gorillas that played, or 5 plus Yaron and DK that played. It was incredible. The way, to me, I'll say that was the best team, like team that really came together,
Yeah.
played as a team. I think in terms of all the championship teams, like super, Roll Tide, Bob, really super talented.
Sure.
But I think Gorillas, no one played as a team like we did. It was really unselfish. We picked each other up. We started off 2-0. We felt good, and then we hit some adversity, and we just when times got tough, we picked each other up. Especially big shout out to Zada here.
Yeah.
Really, he was a big voice of reason. And when no one wanted to listen to me anymore, when no one wanted to listen to Prey anymore.
So I got a question for you. Let's have some fun. So who did you regret picking?
Zara.
He doesn't watch TBI. It's okay.
Well, I two picks I knew were riskier.
By the way, you don't have to answer that question. Just
Yeah,
be clear.
it was a joke. It was a joke.
I'll say this: two picks were riskier. I took them on talent. Maybe some injury history there, but I knew if we could get some of that talent there, it was definitely a risk. But
when Sting goes down in that game, right, and you're looking to the sideline, and there's me recording and Prime, and then you got your own who's there helping ref the game. Are you nervous at all that
I was
we're gonna have to forfeit the championship?
While everyone was arguing, I went to my phone and started texting everyone, "Come to the field, ASAP."
I didn't get a text. Just to be clear.
Well, that's because you already
I'm
told me you
kidding.
couldn't play. But it was, we were trying to figure out our team the night before even.
Yeah, you guys were scrambling, but either way,
And
made it work.
Yeah, big shout out to Yaron here for stepping up in the game.
Were you nervous that Yaron was going to throw a pick, even though he wasn't wide receiver? Even though he was a wide receiver.
At one point I was wondering if we were going to do like a trick play, but
Yaron throwing a pick, not a trick.
Yaron goes to the huddle and says, "Okay, Prey, you're a receiver, I'm quarterback."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was really he like just brought into the team just like that.
Rook,
played great defense.
If you were asked to be a captain again next year, is that something you would want to do, or is it time to take a break and kind of pass that mantle?
Part of me feels nice to be like, to go out on top.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work, and also shout out to the other captains here. Like, we really put in a lot behind the scenes. I know it's easy for people to complain when you're not a captain, but everyone, Ernie, Prime, Steve Ocut, they put in so much work. It was really, at the beginning of the season, Jordan made a big emphasis that it should be a chill, fun season, but still competitive. And I think it did work for the first few weeks, but then after that, everyone was just
listen,
got too competitive. But
you can't make everybody happy. But I will say this: you guys, like you said it, captains, definitely appreciative. We're all appreciative of the captains and making the season happen. Rook, we can't take away your second championship, third time in the championship. You are the MVP. You played like I've never seen anybody play the way you did. Unbelievable play. Thank you for making this a great Super Bowl season as a captain and MVP. Thanks for coming on TBI and our season finale.
Congrats, man.
Our next guest, a little bit of a somber note here, guys. We didn't mention this at the top of our show because we wanted to keep this a life-friendly, fun show. But you mentioned earlier, Logan, in the sense that this was Jordan's last season. I mean, we know that he'll come back at certain points and get in a game here and there, but I know for me personally, you're talking about like 18 years. I think I have of knowing Jordan in Jubal and seeing everything from the first emails I ever got, jtrick at AOL.com, you just thank you, jtrick1 at AOL.com. And you're just thinking about, the recaps, the emails, the days where we couldn't get games. So we're begging people like, who's in, and you see what Jubal is now as he's leaving. He's leaving Jubal in a much better shape than he got it in. That's how someone did a great job. And it's my distinct honor to present to us the commissioner, a guest on TBI since the first season, someone who's meant a lot to us. And has criticized us and also praised us more than anybody else, none other than our commissioner, Jordan J. Hiller. Welcome, TBI. Jordan,
Yes.
damn,
Thanks for
man.
having me.
Last season. What thoughts, man?
Don't do this to me.
I'm good. You're not crying, I'm
My
crying.
thoughts?
Who's cutting on
I don't
this?
want to think about it. I don't know. I can't think about it. My
All
thoughts
right,
are.
I'll bail you
I
out
don't
on this
know.
one. Jordan, what are your thoughts on the fact that PJ thinks Jew Ball is better now that you're gone?
I don't think he said that in the
I'm
intro.
almost
I was
positive
right
he
over
did.
there listening.
I'm almost positive he did.
Go back to the tape.
Yeah, I am. Of course, I'm thrilled of the status it's in now. I can explain it. Obviously, I'm going to get credit because I was the commissioner during this growth period. I was also commissioner during the demise, and David was the commissioner in between. And we resurrected it, and then you showed up with your own, and somehow that changed everything about 6 years ago, and we are now living in the Enlightenment and. I was here for it, so I'm sure I'll be getting credit for it, but it happened on my watch. So,
All right, there's obviously too many to count. I'm not gonna ask you to give us your top three moments or whatever, but just give us some of the highlights. What are some of the favorite memories over all of the your 24 or so years? Obviously, a Cronies championship's got to be up there, but kind of walk us through just some moments that stick out for you.
I always remember the day that we had a tournament at Lawrence High School on Thanksgiving because it was the kind of that thing that we get now all the time where you just look at the vastness of Jubal and you see there are right now, whatever it is, 28 people playing football because of Jubal. That was the coolest thing just to see guys playing. I remember that was a big deal.
Especially when there were times where you couldn't get 28 guys over the course of a month.
Yeah. I mean, it would just never happen. But the signs things come together and you get signs like, oh, who are we? I love that mud game where we wrecked Woodmere Middle. I thought
that was great.
A lot of the games during that season, which I think called the miracle season or the magical season, whatever, that was an amazing season because all of a sudden guys like Clint came back and BD, and there was something about that season which set us up for where we are now that probably has some of the greatest moments because you saw things happening in real time that was we're going places, guys.
It probably reminded people as what Jubal could be or what Jubal was, at his peak or whatever
and
it was.
it felt like we're gonna give people a place to. I always thought that was important, giving people, veterans, a place. Even for me now, Prey's gonna have to do that for me. I want to have a place to come back to in 4 years, and that only happens if the next
4 years.
Why not? If I'm, meaning and 3 years and 2 years, but and 4. I just picked a random number. Yeah.
Demo?
All right, I'm gonna go the opposite. I don't know if you're gonna really answer the question, but if you can have any do-overs, meaning trying to get this guy to come back or people, would you have any do-overs? I mean, obviously we're in a great place now, so is there anything that you would have changed on your way here to get here?
And just things that popped in my head. When I thought you were gonna say things I would do differently, I obviously would try to be less of a volatile tempered person at times.
You?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I kind of regret sometimes losing my cool on the field. So that's one. I know that doesn't really change anything. I think we would have ended up in the same place regardless. But not getting Offman to be a regular is kind of annoying. Tried that for many years. That would have been nice to get another quarterback early on. Maybe killing Rabin sometime in 2011. I'm joking.
That's a regret we didn't do.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. So things that we could have done differently. I don't know. I feel like everything really went our way, for a long time now.
Who's your biggest surprise? Who's the player who showed up who ended up being better than you would have ever expected,
Wow. I mean, the Rook becoming.
The Rook
Benji becoming the Rook was pretty amazing.
who then became the king.
Yeah, so that's an amazing transformation. But in terms of just a guy, who I always say Kut. He was a class. Even I like to look at that little generation. It's the slightly pre-Dark Ages generation of Kut and Tom. because we got them. Rabin just when they told me, oh, there's another pick. We were dying. He's like, there's another pickup game somewhere else, and I'm like, we're pathetic, and they're gonna join us. Like they gotta be even more pathetic than us. And then like Kurt and Tom are there, and they just look like guys. And the fact that they hung on for this long, and actually, I consider them very talented football players. You know, because they came with this guy Schreier. Remember?
Schreier was a quarterback
Yeah,
at the tournament.
yeah, Schreier. Yeah, they came with Schreier. Was he really? Oh yeah, in that day, yeah. Schreier.
Press.
Yeah, Press ended up hanging out for a while. It's too bad. But couldn't Tom, I think the fact that they're still around was surprising because anybody we picked up in the dark ages is like, why the hell did they stay with us? And they, they get the benefits.
Was it did you get any enjoyment giving Mighty the MVP this year?
Past tense. I will get enjoyment if that happens.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to.
Part 1 of 6 came out today.
Yeah,
it's
part
true.
6. That was a
MVP will be named
we
in
do
part
appreciate-
5 of 6.
I love how you make a joke.
Oh, MVP will be in part 5 and 6. Little teaser right
Yeah,
there.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, the drugs, right?
Oh yeah.
I do like that.
Don't do drugs, but if you do,
But if you do,
Oh, I want to be part of that next.
Thinking back,
Sorry, if you
back-
don't do drugs,
Do it later. Yeah.
thinking back
Do
to
it later.
the
We're
I
natural.
got you.
thinking back to the early days of
Drop
Jew
it.
ball.
They say what?
Thinking back to the early days of Jew ball. Right?
Yes.
You always mention guys like Katz and Steve.
Yes, Queens.
And, you know, like those guys, right?
Logan's on the other field.
And then think about like the
See
early
it.
the early 5-town days with like Susnow and Uri, like
Yes.
those guys. And then you talk about right, and then you talk about Dorothy, right? And then you look
Yeah.
at like the pre-dark ages when you had guys like Mighty showing up, and Socks and that whole group, Zessie. And then you think about that we have now, right? In the alignment, right? Yaron Prey, we'll include
10 million people.
We'll include Zindax, DJ,
Dax,
Solo,
Legs, yeah.
like all those guys.
That generation, yeah.
If you could match up one generation against another generation in
Mm.
terms of sheer talent that like could compete with each other,
Yeah.
which generation would
It
that
would
be?
have to be Renaissance against Revolution. Because once you get into the Enlightenment, it's too talented.
Right.
Like nobody would play well. But if you get a game like Mighty, Marino, like Sox, Zez, obviously I was better, me, and then Bosch, I guess is your
Right, yeah,
alignment.
Bosch is
And then you
mine, yeah.
play against like that early revolution, which would be like Yaron, Prey, Logan, Gronk, fight,
Prime.
what?
Yeah, Prime's
Prime,
in there, yeah.
Beast,
Goldberg,
Goldberg. That would be a decent matchup.
So like seniors versus juniors, if seniors had a quarterback.
Yeah.
something like that.
And also played when we were younger. Slightly less tired and broken. Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you go back a long time, right at the beginning of the Dark Ages, we joined the league, if you remember.
Yes. That was the last season
And
before the revolution.
and we were just not. We were just there.
Yeah.
And now we have
I know.
the winners of the best tourney in the tri-state area. You know, they beat the best teams of Muncie,
Yeah,
of
it's
Lakewood, or whatever. The bunch of trashos. Like how crazy is that we now have the best talent in flag Jewish flag football here.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like why these guys. I always remember Open. I'm gonna cry now. It's crazy. I remember the Open came up to us and he said, the night of the draft party, I said, "Oh, you guys are using," because I was used to that. You know, you kind of like think you're not good enough, so you're like, "Oh, you're using us to get ready for the night league."
Right, so
And
we
he-
used to do it.
And then Open said, "No, we're using the night league to get ready for you."
Yeah.
For Jubal. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like what is going on here? And then I mean, I give Zin I'll give Zin the most credit. The guy bought in, and Dax obviously stuck around and he plays, but Zin
Yeah.
bought in so big, and he is undisputedly, from what I've heard, people in the know, the most talented guy out there. And he is one of us through and through. So like, that's just, I don't know what that's Mazda. I don't know who brought him. Do we know? Do you remember? Open brought him. And
your uncle
he
mom.
came to Munch's
Uncle
party.
Mom.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, before he even played, he came to
He
Munch's
came to
party.
Munch's party, which is so cool. You think about generations, like Munch retired. Munch was the man. Zin comes to his first Jubal thing ever, and it's at Munch's house.
Right.
And it's a bunch of guys watching the Bills on the big screen.
Preseason, right?
And preseason, the food is amazing. There's like turtles coming out of like a river in the backyard.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's like that. that factors in. Like you go, like, oh, he loves the football. Maybe he saw something that night. Like, what is going on here? This is special. This is a special group. And he comes to the brisses and all that stuff. And like, when you have the most talented guy, you can win tournaments.
And then you look at like guys who have had to step away from Jubal. Guys like
Yeah.
Moore and Singer, people like myself, and you see like Jubal doesn't miss a beat. Like back in the day, like when the pre-dark ages, you lose 3 or 4 consistent guys, you're like, that's it, season's over. And now it's like, it's like you don't even miss these guys anymore.
Well,
to say you don't miss Singer is crazy, but like we always miss Singer, you know what I mean?
You're saying you think we would be able to get a competitive game.
talent-wise.
Right, talent-wise. Like you have so much to fill in. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, we've hit a streak. I don't, good businesses. I'm sure Prey will have to worry about this. Good businesses don't up. You cannot, as they say, rest on your laurels. You cannot assume that this will continue. So I always said, people are like, why are you getting? I remember always like, why are you getting rookies? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what about it takes away time from us? It takes away attention from us. It takes away, that's why a lot of leagues fail because the older guys, the vets or whatever, they are not selfish, but they're like self-interested. It's like us.
They want their playing
Yeah,
time.
and they don't deal with new people. You don't want to. There comes a point like, or some people you don't want to meet new people.
Yeah,
they don't want to.
I have enough friends.
Yeah, like I have enough friends. I know the guys I play with, and they like they cherish that. Like these are us. We're us, and we're gonna get older.
Schul's go through that also.
Schul's a big time.
Yeah,
Schul's failed because of that also.
Yeah.
So you have to realize new blood.
Jay, Dave, we had another question for Jay.
One more for me.
Okay.
Again, I don't know if you can answer this, but where do you see Jewel being in 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Like, is it something you can even like think of how great it could be?
Like a 401c3.
I mean,
like,
like Dave.
Or do you find yourself bailing Prey out of jail?
No, Prey's a
I
pretty.
did not see that.
Prey
Who had that on their bingo card?
Prey keeps his nose clean, so I'm not worried about Prey in jail. Where
Not if you went to jail.
I mean, could it become this? We always talk about this. You don't want to cross that line of being corporatized, but at the same time, there's something about growth. So, can I see us having 2 locations? Maybe one day. Yeah, I could see it. Can I see us having maybe a day and a night? I could see it. I could see Jubal maybe taking over Tuesday night, totally, and it just becoming a Jubal thing. And we instead of letting that affect us, we affect that. So we Jubalify other leagues instead of selling out to expand.
Jubal Nation.
Yeah, we have a product and we can make people fit our mold. We don't have to fit into their mold.
Jordan, which is your favorite? Veal, Shabbos clothes, or PJs?
Who you were the one that was called Veal?
Back in the day, I was.
The NCSY deal?
15 years old.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Dr. Ellie Shapiro lives in Farakwe. I don't know if people know him. He
No.
goes around and speaks in schools, whatever. He doesn't.
He's like,
No, I don't.
not while I'm around. He's like,
It's definitely getting cut out. Anyways, Veal was a nickname given to me back in my NCSY days. Whatever, all good. And then
Wait, if this is getting cut out, is that because you liked young meat?
It's because he used to cop a veal from the. Okay.
right.
Anyway, sorry, veal. PJ's by far. It was funny when you came and played in your Shabbos clothes.
Jordan, are you? What's the story next year? Like, I know you'll have a huge time difference. Like, are you going to stay active on the chat? Are you going to step away from the chat? Like, what's your intention next year?
I mean, I would ask you. Like, what's right? I think there's a.
Well, don't go Oracle. We don't.
No,
don't
I'm
go
not gonna be gone, but there's a certain dignity and grace to like knowing when to like shut up. Like when you're not. I know Logan.
I definitely know some ex-commissioners who don't have.
I know Logan has been a guy on chat on mostly softball who talks even though he's not playing. But like,
yeah.
I don't know if people want that. Like if I'm not on the field, like who cares what I have to say? So I don't think I'll be.
You're talking to 2 guys who have a podcast.
3 guys.
Yeah, exactly. But
exactly. You know what I mean?
You have a podcast, so meaning you have a platform. I'm just gonna be some guy in Israel, like I don't know. It's a weird thing. I hope to earn my right to comment by when I come in, I have to come in like once in a while. I know I'm leaving September 15th, which means like maybe depending on whoever makes the schedule, whether there's a game before that, maybe I can get a game one in or a preseason even. And then I'll play maybe February.
Final question.
Yeah.
Are you setting up a Jubal community in Israel?
I best bet is that I get in touch with Zez and he gets me into games. That I am not.
Tackle?
I don't know, stupid,
Tripping?
right?
I think it's a great way to get hurt.
Yeah.
You don't like basketball.
It's
No,
Israelis, though. Are you really gonna get hurt?
Zez said there is a very good flag league also.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So maybe I'll play. Again, I'm 47. So I don't know, but I feel fine. I want to stay in shape. The second you stop
Yeah.
playing, you know,
Yeah.
let yourself go.
Yeah.
But no, it's not my intention. I think I'll be back eventually. As good as Israel is.
All right, Jay.
Yeah. Don't go guys.
Thank you. Before you go, actually, I want to bring our next guest.
Before you go,
A little bit of a passing of the torch here. Our championship winning quarterback for the third time. He is, the MVP of last season, not this past season, the season before.
he still
And
might
he
be
is,
MVP.
well, he exactly is still the MVP and could be the winner. But of course, he's also the next commissioner. I guess if you want to officially pass the baton.
I think
The next-
we've done a few things. We've done a picture by the shed.
The gear.
The gear. We
But
passed it.
Okay. An official video of passing the baton.
Pass him your baton and
And we say goodbye to the old commissioner, welcoming in the new commissioner.
Not yet. Until there's
The gorillas.
I'm 1/6 commissioner. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The gorillas.
Skeevish guy.
Oh,
The discount. I'm just saying.
The gorillas championship winning quarterback, and also the next commissioner, Jubal. Welcome back to TBI. I think you've been a guest on every season of TBI. Pray, let's just go right in it. What's a bigger honor, winning 3 Jubal championships or being the new commissioner?
not even a question.
Only the
I don't
commissioner
even
wants
know.
to
I'll
win
take 3
the
shit.
Yeah, it's true. By the way,
No one wants to
Good
be
point.
Roger Goodell.
fair point.
No, but everybody wants to be.
No, but he
Jordan.
could be Tom Brady
I'll
and
say this.
Roger Goodell at the same time.
Yeah, but I don't want to be commissioner. Let's
Yeah.
get that straight. It's more of a Jordan's not going to be around. Obviously, we want him to be around. And if Jordan was around, we wouldn't be having any of these conversations.
Sure.
It's just a matter of Jordan basically needs a man on the ground. Needs a man, in the location of where the games are going to be played, where everything's going to be going on. I'm not going to try to be Jordan. I can't
this
be
a-
Jordan even if I did try.
Is this a
But
Brian Cashman, Aaron Boone situation where he's
Jordan-
he's
Jordan's
going
going,
to
be like, you made those teams? How could you? You did linemen and receivers on the same team. But yeah, I can't even try to be Jordan, even if it's not possible. So, I just got to do the best I can and not screw it up too bad.
Right, rumor has it that you're starting next season there will be a kiddish before and after every game.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yeah. Donut. Fleischiks on Rosh Chodesh, obviously.
Wait, donuts.
Well,
wait,
no,
wait,
dairy
donuts-
before the game.
Right, donuts.
Yeah.
I like
Right,
that.
donuts
I like that.
pre-game, barbecue post-game, right?
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Do you only get a donut if you're wearing a white shirt?
Maybe donuts are for winners. Should we do that?
Oh, I like that.
Ooh.
rule. Well, but how can you be a winner
Wings are
before
for
the game?
losers?
Wings for losers.
No, no, no.
Exactly. Perfect.
It's based on the
We're good.
TBI. Wait, based on the TBI prediction. If you predict you to win, you get donuts before the game.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. We could do that. Or if you if it's one of those games where it's just not going to go well and sometimes beforehand, you'd
Sure.
be like, all right, you guys get donuts today. Yeah, we can work it out. We can mix and match.
Winning team gets barbecue, losing team gets donuts.
Or that we could do. Yeah, but that's not it. Sometimes you want a donut. I mean,
Oh, then get from Glicks, and there you go. Allen's.
So, pray. Obviously, we've had a great show so far. Let's try to bring us back in.
we're done with donut talk.
You know that the show has gone awry when Dave always the voice
One second.
Bring us back in.
Dave post Hanukkah is like, I just don't want to think about donuts anymore.
That's also
Oh,
fair.
donuts.
Yeah.
So do I.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We can talk about donuts later. Okay, so back to this
Apple crumb from Dunkin', by the way, just saying.
Oh.
I got it yesterday. It was delicious.
It's not good. Okay, so obviously we've had a great show so far. In the beginning, before the guests even we had a couple of topics that we talked about. Obviously, now that you're going to be in charge of the leagues once Jordan officially passes his baton to you, we had a debate: QBs versus captains. What is your take on it, and what do you think, and how are we going to proceed forward?
I like the way it worked this year. I thought it added a lot to the draft night, specifically. And I thought it added a lot to the league because it would put the quarterbacks in a little bit of a obviously different position that they're not necessarily calling the shots. Although obviously, me and Brooke, we had a very good relationship. There was just sometimes like, oh, I need this guy in the field for a specific play we want to run, whatever it was. But it did add a lot of intrigue, added a lot of excitement, energy to the sort of the staleness that some people were complaining about the leagues. So I think we keep it the same. It's definitely a balance because the like Logan was saying before, like different positions, you can get a little bit it can get messed up with not exactly even talent or whatever, but then at the same time, not every quarterback is even, not every quarterback plays defense, so you do have the same issues regardless. But I did like the sort of excitement and intrigue it brought to draft night, it brought throughout the season, and it just creates excitement and buzz. That's really what it's about.
Do we have any prospects on who will be captain? Are we going to run the same captains?
I'm gonna have to interrupt. That's such a great question. Sorry, keep going.
Is your TBI stealing notes?
A
little
TBI.
leaning over and
I have a lot of notes under you.
yeah, I didn't even get my whole name down. Well, it's really up to the captains. I think give everyone a second go at it if they want it, just to keep some continuity. Maybe we'll change some of the draft situation, draft order, whatever, but we'll do a lottery again, whatever, all to be determined. But if the captains don't want it, then we have to go back to the drawing board. Depends on how many captains don't want it. If 4 out of the 5 captains don't want to do it again, then I say we're probably going to pick 5 new captains. If 2 of them don't want it, maybe we just pick 2 new ones.
Anything you would change about Vets Rooks?
No, I don't think so. The tournament style that we've been doing, I think, has been awesome. The last what's been 3 years, I think, that we've done it. It's been a lot of fun to have that sort of playoff where you're competing within your own bracket, and then the only thing I probably would change is Gronk shouldn't quarterback.
There it is. I knew that.
That would be about it.
All
I can't think of anything else.
Craig, going back.
Logan, can you think of anything else?
No,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
only thing I would change.
Do you like a salt bagel?
Craig, would we ever think of?
Don't a little salty stuff.
Would we ever think of?
Caramel?
So yeah.
Would we ever think of going to a partial keeper league for leagues? Maybe your first 2 picks you keep or whatever.
No, you
whatever.
definitely can't keep the top talent. That I don't think. I would say maybe if you want to.
So you keep your bottom 5.
Maybe something like that. Maybe like you pick around 4th and later, and say, okay, this is a guy who I want to be on my team for the next year. But if you're going to say, who's not going to keep Zim year to year, and then the whole draft? The draft excitement is gone.
Yeah, but then trades get more interesting because you don't. Yeah, anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. In theory,
We've never seen a trade.
Who gets traded?
some people get
Well,
traded.
one guy gets traded. Did you get traded for anyone?
Donuts?
No.
Injured. No.
Injured Snow was a salary cap move. That's so good.
Cash consideration.
Why do you need a trade when you could just pick random people off and add them to your team?
That's
Oh,
fair.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Question for you.
Right.
If we go back to draft night, so Kuti gets up there, he announces the number 1 pick. Your first thought is fuck you. What's your next thought?
So my next thought was, well, I didn't really get time to do a next thought because
You were staring at the turkey leg?
well, that too. But Prime actually, I'm pretty sure stole
That's
my
why he was
phone
upset.
and called Rook to try to convince him to not pick me. So that was right. I believe I was on the phone with you.
Did he offer
Prime
any
just
trades,
took
or
my
was he
phone.
just like, don't do it?
No, he was just like, "Don't do it. I'm going to
Hey
kill
man,
you.
I got great advice.
I'm going to
Listen
murder you. I'm going to
Yeah.
murder your whole family. I'm going to,
At
So
least give him like an ounce of weed or something.
Oh, he was trying to trade for weeks?
For weeks, yeah.
yeah, before the draft. Also, I mean,
What was he offering? Just curious.
I don't know.
Nova?
I mean, he was talking to Kut, I think, mainly
Like a third round pick.
A 3rd round
That's
pick.
it. Oh, come
No,
on.
like his
the first and the third, I guess.
No,
Meaning swap picks in the first plus.
Or a fourth or
yeah,
something.
you gotta get a second there. There's no way you can. Anyway, yeah.
All right,
I mean,
anyways, yeah,
But anyway, but either way,
reality-
so like your thought, like so Zin gets picked. I think it was pretty much a surprise to you. It's a surprise to a
Well,
lot
I
of
mean,
us.
being that Coach texted me the night before draft and told me he was gonna take me, it was a little bit of a surprise, just a bit.
I love that.
I blame the captain.
But Cook was like,
Again, I can't blame him for picking.
I
Zin,
know, but like it's
But he
funny
fucking
because he was
screwed up.
playing mind
Yeah.
games when he didn't have to play mind games because he had the first pick. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he was trying to trick
Yeah,
the guy
exactly.
picking in
It's like
front of
like the night before the draft, the number, the second team that's picking is like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna take this guy, and then the third team trades up to the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think my draft night, right? Because this is gonna be your first commission draft night. Have you spoken to Rabin about using his backyard? Are you nervous now that maybe you need a new location for draft night?
No, I think we're good. Rabin, my mom and dad, they're good with it. They they let me.
I'm not so much.
Mom, not
Hold on
so
a second.
much.
Let's
Somebody
think
they let me-
struck her one
They
time.
let me use their house.
if Davo didn't scare him away the first time, like
True.
Sure, that's true. Well, yeah.
By the way,
what's the worst that can
I
happen?
actually gave her donuts and she thinks I'm a normal person now.
Now?
I will say the one other thing, draft night was so easy this year in terms of like not having to draft, not having to
Because you weren't
prep
drafted.
for it or look at who's in there. It's just like sit back, even with schedule making throughout the year, not being a captain. Yeah, I mean, some things were like, I want to be in charge of this or that, or whatever. But 99% of it was like, hey, I get to sit back and just play football. Like, pretty nice.
Pray, you won 3 championships. Obviously, I'm not going to ask you which championship is your favorite because that would be fair. But think about
The next one.
But think about the ascension
love
of
that.
Rook. Not just as a captain, but the way he played that game. I mean, he wasn't just MVP because of what he did on offense. He was MVP because of what he did on defense.
Yeah.
Just can you talk about that ascension of Rook?
Yeah, I mean, just throughout obviously Rook from the time he joined Jubal, from sitting on the side hoping to get into a game to having, probably like you guys were saying before, the greatest play in Jubal Championship League history. I mean, honestly, 2 of the greatest plays. I think the last play of the game also
Yeah, right.
was also up there. But the sort of the ascension just from going, from what Rook was expecting. Obviously, we had Ivry, so Rook was sort of like, hey, I'm going to be that number 2 type receiver to literally being the number 1 the entire year. I mean, I don't know how many touchdowns he had this
4.
year.
I don't
In
know.
leagues, including playoffs and
Well, including the championship would be 6 out of 13.
6. That's all right. That's 50% of our touchdowns right there. Yeah.
And like 2 against the Ducks and 3 in the
Right. So in the playoffs, basically all of our touchdowns. But no, it became this thing where it's just like, I know that there's a guy down there who I can rely on. I'm going to throw it up to if, things get in trouble, and things got in trouble a lot with open and solo rushing at you. But then, to be down, whatever it was, I think 13-6 and have that play happen. It just like, you can't even dream that stuff up. It was just so pivotal. And we weren't even winning at that point. And then to come back 3 drives later and then score the game winning touchdown, it was just nuts, absolutely nuts.
Do you see yourself writing recaps or having someone else do it?
No, I think I have to. If I'm gonna play the part, I got to play the part.
Awesome.
So we'll try it out. I don't think I could do even a quarter of the job in terms of the writing that Jordan could do. But maybe I'll do like every recap 1/7, and I'll release one on Sunday, one on Monday, one on Tuesday. And finally, by the end of the week, we'll have a full recap.
Wait, this is great. You're like, I can never do as good as Jordan.
Right.
If Jordan gives us 6, you're like, I'll give you 7. Like immediately, like the next word out of your mouth was, I will do. I can't do what Jordan did, but I will do one
try to
better.
outdo him.
On the first play of the game, continue next time.
All right.
Just don't use ChatGPT.
Nah, I don't know. I don't even have it.
Pray. Congratulations on another championship
Thank
win.
you guys.
We're looking forward to the great things you do as commissioner. Thanks for being on here.
I appreciate it.
Apropos that you're here for our season finale, and keep doing great things.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you, bro. Who knows what next year brings? Obviously, new commissioner, another season of TBI maybe, and it's been great. It's been great doing this with you guys. Obviously, we did a lot less episodes we thought we'd do this year, but happy we at least got this one in.
I blame the captains.
Davo, anything they should sign up for?
Guys, remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Oh, shocker. Is that like
Rose.
guys, not next week, but the following week, May 18th, the first ever annual Jubal
Inaugural.
roast. It's going to be fantastic. A lot of people are putting a lot of effort in. A lot of time goes into these things. We know the Jubal season is over, but it's things like these that keep the off season tolerable until we actually can get to football. There is Tuesday night football. If this comes out before Tuesday night football, playoffs start next week. We have 2.5 very good Jubal teams. Right now, the top 2 teams are Jubal teams. Go out, support them, show love. Don't forget, don't do drugs. But if you do, call
Buy them from Davo.
guys, fantastic. From the bottom of my heart, we love you guys. We appreciate you supporting us. What are we?
We are 3 balls in.
And now we're 3 balls.
Have a great off season, everybody.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial.
It'll be a good day to make a video. I don't know how many I ever made this season, but it's around game time. And I don't know, it's my last regular season game as commissioner. After about 19 years of commissioning, making teams and all that. And I feel the same.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.